Yo, what up? What up? Good morning, GMT. Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. Look at that. Another beautiful day to have a beautiful day. I got my co-host in the house, Tyler, Mando. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We even got our producer back, Timothy. Good morning, everyone. How y'all doing today?
I'm doing amazing, man. How are you?
I am fantastic, Mando. Thank you for asking. I'm fantastic. I'm great. I'm amazing. Feeling good, man. Feeling good. I'm feeling like Mando in 2024 and 2023. I know what it's like now, Mando, to have the sunshine just like, hitting me in the face all day long. Feels good. What's up, Tyler? How you doing? Nice background.
I'm good. Yeah, it's sunny here as well. In Chicago, we're feeling good today. Our coins are green and big show. Big show today.
Big show with Big Joe. We have, for everybody in the audience, we have Joe Lubin, co-founder of Ethereum, founder of Consensys, and now, chairman of the board, I think, of Sharplink Gaming, or at least on the board of Sharplink Gaming, the investment vehicle to acquire $1 billion worth of Ethereum. So the Ethereum macro strategy is here. And Joe Lubin is going to be joining us in the studio and on the show in about 24 minutes. Normally we haven't booked for 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so he'll be with us in a little bit. So today on the show, we're going to go quick. We're going to do a market report. We are going to go through Tyler's top 10 real quick, his quick topics, see what's up. And then we'll just dive right into the show with Joe and do an interview. We are going to postpone the giveaways. Shout out to Yeet, though, yeet.com. Sign up using the FOMO hour code in order to have a chance to win money every single day on the show. I know I say every day. We do giveaways every day. We didn't do it yesterday, today, but we'll do 3 on Farcoin Friday, this Friday. So it'll be fun. 3 winners on Friday, a winner tomorrow, and a winner Wednesday, because, we want to focus the show today on Joe. And then as usual, this show is powered by Wallet Connect. We all love Wallet Connect. Check them out. You know the logo. You've seen it. Wallet Connect on X and Telegram to stay ahead of what's next. And Mando, what's next? I mean, look, some green on the board today. Let's I know you're an Ethereum bull, so it's perfect. You've been super bulled up on ETH, and I got you. It's like a genie. You rub the little bottle and you got Joe Lubin coming to the show today because you kept talking about ETH. So let's talk about the market a little bit.
Who is the man, macro daddy of the land? Can you dig it?
Hello, everyone. Good day, I think. We had a bit of a bounce back across the board, really. We had Bitcoin kind of going back to up towards around 105K, ETH at just over 2,600, and Solana back towards 160. So a bounce after obviously a weaker weekend. In terms of headlines, the main one on macros is that we're going to have, again, a delay in the tariffs on China. So a little bit of a softening of an approach there. And that led to a little bit of a rally kind of across the board. You've also had some weakness in the dollar, which has meant gold has gone a little bit higher again, and alongside, let's say, Bitcoin. So, just the same sort of trends of trade not seeming as bad as everyone thought. Bond yields are still pushing higher. That's a bit of a risk. You had Jamie Dimon came out and said, prepare for 5% plus on the 10-year, which I think would be pretty high. And then we've had, gold going higher as well. So a relatively supportive backdrop, I would say, for crypto, but just some worries about if bond yields are really going to cause some pain here. For crypto specifically, it was another day, I think, of ETH broadly outperforming. We've had, as Tyler pointed out this morning, we've had continual inflows into the ETH ETFs, actually outpacing the Bitcoin ETFs, which is kind of wild. We haven't seen that for a long time. Just over 400 million. I think it's 10 straight days of inflows.
Wow.
Bitcoin is looking pretty good. ETH is looking pretty good here, just in terms of flows based. In terms of actual headlines yesterday, there were some headlines that that the ETH Foundation is going to be restructured. There's been a lot of commentary around this. If you go to DC Investor, actually, middle comment there.
The first tweet that shows up is just Mando's. You can't make this up, right? This is such a good timeline here. So you're saying DC investor?
Yeah, he actually made a good post yesterday, which is, remember, they have made some changes here, but
Here, this
go
one?
down. No, maybe go down a little bit. Down. He's been tweeting a lot recently, obviously. Down. There we go.
This one?
Yeah. Even extremely long-time Ethereum founding holders can barely comprehend how much the Ethereum Foundation has changed in the last few months. Most waiting for some kind of catch or a stick in the eye. I don't think either are coming. The org is radically transformed and is adopting a laser focus on pushing ETH forward. If long-time ETH fans can even get grok this, then I'm sure the broader market still has no clue. Full speed ahead. I think what we're seeing here is like they are listening and they are now putting in a more aggressive team for change. So there were comments yesterday from Vitalik saying that we want to 10x basically ETH on a range of different metrics over the next few years. And then now they're putting in place these sort of core ETH devs in with more power, I would say. So there's changes to if you just go to the ETH fan, yeah, there we go. They had this big blog post. The main things is that they're putting like a different team of core devs in charge, which I think is going to be relatively beneficial. The main person is this Dankrad Feist guy, supported by Dankras Feist. And yeah, people are like very, very bullish on the idea that this is now going to be that pushes it forward. And what has kind of lacked before is that they've taken a step back, right? Like, and then they haven't really been part of that BD stuff that we've spoken about. This team seems like a team that's going to be a bit more focused on stuff that's going to push forward the BD side of the chain too. So yeah, just generally some bullish sentiment coming out of ETH there. But we did see a rally kind of across the board. Hyperliquid also obviously is the one L1 beating everything there. They got a spot listing for Binance US, or at least said that they will be getting one in the future, which is pretty wild that Binance US got that list. Has decided to list them. I didn't even think they would ever list them, but they have.
After Coinbase, right? Pressure came on the Coinbase side, no?
Exactly. So now have major exchanges in the US looking to list them. Obviously, Binance, I think, and Hyperliquid are in kind of somewhat of a battle. So interesting to see where that one kind of goes. But Hyperliquid's definitely been one of the main winners.
Definitely outperforming here, yeah.
Yeah.
What is it at? Wow, 37.4. Reverse the Clemente curse.
So it's I would say it's ETH and ETH beta. So you had big wicks up in like ETH memes, Aave, Ethena, all had a good day today. And interestingly, on the Solana side, WIF has been the biggest gainer. WIF looks like it's about to reclaim $1 billion, which
it is yeah.
Which is now starting to catch up with Filecoin, which is pretty interesting. But, yeah, like a big move kind of across the board there in a number of different key ETH-based coins, and then Solana I think was dominated by like WIF, which has had a few KOLs kind of going after it, which has been good to see.
Yeah, I see that. Filecoin just looks like it's about to print a double-digit kind of though. Hopefully,
yeah.
We
still have a number of different people saying they're going to raise to buy Bitcoin. Interestingly, Sailor is going to do another pref share offering that got some like semi-FUD on the timeline. I think they're going to raise 250 million. There's another firm in Hong Kong, Reitar Logtech, I think is the name. It's going to buy 1.5 billion of Bitcoin. And then you've started to see Tether move its Bitcoin to this new vehicle, 21 Capital. It's moved 37,000 Bitcoin to this new vehicle now, which is a pretty wild move. There was another company that said it was going to go out and buy Sol yesterday, Classover. So they're going to raise 500 million of Sol. So this is now a bit of a trend, but like crypto treasuries from all these companies. Remember, like this. People don't really know why this started and why it's been so aggressive. If you remember, it was all the accounting changes that we saw last year was it Sailor at the time? Yeah, Sailor was very vocal, like this was going to be a big change that they can mark them to market essentially. that has allowed a lot more companies now to explore this, and it feels like it's going to be that's going to be with us for a while. You know, going to be with us for a while. So good, I think good across the board. Probably best for Hyperliquid, ETH and ETH Beta, and then other stuff I would say is a bit mixed.
Okay, perfect. Good outlook here. We're looking good. I think, I feel like we were looking bottom, but I'm always scared to call bottom there. And I'm definitely not calling it alt season by any means. So, so we'll just wait. But love the news on Ethereum. We'll dive deeper into all the Ethereum news, thoughts, and all that stuff in about 15 minutes with Joe himself. But super bullish on the ecosystem, really waking up here and making a move. I think it's kind of, we've talked about this before, guys, like that meme, like do something, the stick man, like, and the thing is doing, right? And so now it's like a restructure and this and that. So I think definitely pay attention to that and what's going on on the Ethereum side there. All right, Tyler, let's get a quick fire through what you got for us today.
For daily NFT and crypto analysis. Tyler T on FOMO hour cause the kids can't miss.
Bring it back to Bears. Yeah, folks, crypto majors. Nice little rebound after some China tariff relief. We have ETH leading the way up 4%, 26.20. Bitcoin at 105.3. Hype leading all alts up 15%. What a rebound on Hype. A lot of overlap with main nodes headlines. I'll go through them again quickly. The Ethereum Foundation announced protocol. That's their new initiative to focus on scaling the L1s and L2s, plus a better user experience, along with a change in leadership. Hong Kong-based Reitar Logtech, $1.5 billion in Bitcoin to buy. Michael Saylor's strategy announced a new IPO for Standard STRD, perpetual stock offering. I think starting with $250 million to buy Bitcoin, but they can, of course, raise more. Metaplanet got to 8888 Bitcoin, and also achieving a 225% yield over the past year. So it's Bitcoin strategy is working, at least so far. Mano mentioned the Tether news, moving to 21 Capital. Another piece of Tether news, they announced XAUTO, tokenized gold. Tether is tokenizing gold and now on the ton blockchain. They plan to go multi-chain with that product. We also saw Circle up its IPO offering after interest from BlackRock. They're now looking to raise up to $900 million at a $7.2 billion valuation. So that raise target is going higher. And then somewhat negative news, Meta shareholders resoundingly rejected their Bitcoin treasury proposal. 95% no vote on that. So Meta will not be acquiring Bitcoin anytime soon. In token airdrop and protocol news, Robinhood announced the acquisition of Bitstamp. That is officially complete. We knew about this for a few months, but now it's gone through, giving them more than 50 global crypto licenses, a new crypto client base, infra, and this crypto as a service product targeting institutions. Gandhi saw his first ever ERC-20 loan, a loan against a token holding. Guess what? The token was wrecked. So wrecked, making some history over on Gandhi.
Killing it.
In Classover, getting an animated TV series.
Love that.
39 episodes, 7 minutes long, aimed at kids 6 to 12. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch. And then Wrecked, of course, we got to bang the drum one more time. That drink sale goes live here in about 100 minutes. So 12 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you're ready for that. 20 minutes.
Sell out, 5 minutes.
Public. Go USA. USA is going to lead.
No, Team Europe now. Let's go Europe.
We will see. Rounding this out, AI was up 5%, 10.3 billion. The leaders were green, slightly green, Splat, and AXR were top movers, up about 25% each. Meme coin leaders were very green. Pepe leading the way, up 10%. With up 15%. SPX up 10%. Launchcoin, that ecosystem was up. It rebounded back to 140 million, and then one of their eco tokens, CLED, one of the top movers on the day, up about 150% to 16 million. So big move there. Loud. Down only, sitting below 6 million now, as they've been talking about perhaps changing some of the levers and measures in that experiment. So we'll see where that continues to go. Other than that, a couple of pieces of NFT news. Moonbirds continue to grind up. They're 0.9 ETH following the acquisition. The Skull of Lucy set a record yesterday, 120 ETH, $300,000. Record-breaking sale for those.
Wow.
And right after yesterday's show, Pixel Vault announced they are auctioning off their historic set of 16 Cryptopunks. Those were an icon back in the 2021 NFT era for those who are around. They were the basis of those comic books, the Punks comics, which were also an incredible trade for anyone who was around in early 2021.
I got some You going on some Pixel Vault lore tied to Mando?
Yes.
So remember, the first collection Mando and Ovi did was inspired by Pixel Vault because they were going to make a comic. Remember the Degens comic?
I do.
Pixel Vault was just before DGens, yeah.
Yeah, literally, like the week before, the weekends before, like it was the same compressed time, right? That was funny.
Very soon after. We were just after DGen University.
Oh no, we don't talk about that.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, that was crazy. That's
That
crazy.
was
Yetis,
wild.
Coldcats, all of those were around the same time. You guys, Pixel Vault. What a cook though, Pixel Vault.
We were the same weekend as Bulls on the Block. Yeah, Bulls on the
Bulls
Block.
on the block. I still have
That's
some
very
reply
nice.
guys with Bulls on the block PFPs. Pixel Vault was 0.08 ETH mint. I went to like 12 ETH. I cooked. I think I turned like 1 ETH to like 55 ETH on Pixel Vault back then. That was one of my best trades of my life. Crazy. And then I lost it all. But that's just par for the course.
Yeah, I was like scraping together ETH to buy on secondary, like 0.2.
Yeah.
Then a few months later, they're 5.
Despite me banging the drum as hard as I can, do either of you own ETH?
I told you I have bought a lot of Pepe and Mog a couple of weeks ago. And wrecked. That's the same thing.
So what I said.
What do you mean?
Any ETH? I guess
I would say I have 30% of my portfolio is allocated to Pepe Mog Rect at the moment.
Right.
And the other 70% is Farcoin.
Tyler's got the nod of a man who's
Tyler?
I'm in the ETH betas, Cryptopunks, and a couple ETH memes.
No, I didn't count my CryptoPunk in there. Nah, get out of here. CryptoPunk is kind of a beta. You're gonna die with that.
What's our bet on ETH? Come on.
But you're not gonna sell it. You're gonna donate, give it to your kids. I don't think you bought it to trade it.
I can still participate in the root on the ETH rally.
Everyone's giving me shit now. Yeah. Wait, hold on, Mando.
Banging the drum as hard as I can, and you guys.
Well, brother, Pepe, you saw the candle, brother. You saw the candle on the Pepe today.
You sound like that Iranian restaurant you went to last night.
Dude, honestly, you know what, guys? I have a story for everybody. Yesterday, I was a victim of cultural appropriation for the first time in my life, and now I understand what it's like. Mando recommended, by the way, Mando has been incredible. He's recommended, so far, 10 for 10 recommendations in Lisbon. Incredible. I got to give him that credit before I bash it. But he sent me to this place called Cafe Tehran. My last name is Tehrani, okay? Supposed to be an Iranian restaurant. I walk in there. First of all, it's nothing Iranian on the menu. It's Arabic. And you guys know it's pretty frothy out there. And then I said, do you have kubide, which is like our main meal, right? It's like you go to an American restaurant, like you have the burger, and they go, what's that? They go, what's that? I was so pissed. So I accepted the fact that I was in a different restaurant, and it's not an Iranian restaurant. So there's no Iranian restaurants in Lisbon. And there was cultural appropriation, Mando. Yeah, they claimed they were a Persian restaurant.
All I said was, I think there's an Iranian restaurant around there.
I'm going to open my own. Don't worry.
Say link.
I'm opening my own.
That it's not the
You
best.
can be partners. You're welcome to be partners. You can be a silent partner in the restaurant. My mother's going to run it. It's going to be called Dastan, just like our parent company here. And yeah, exactly, Ari. He's like, what the fuck, an Iranian restaurant without kubide? Thank you, Ari. He's my fellow Persian.
Middle Eastern food is something that I have. The weird things that I have not found very good on Lisbon are Middle Eastern food and Italian food. There's not that many Italians here.
It's okay. The rest is great. I just had a meeting with actually one of Joe's.
But not that many Italians, and like Middle Eastern is like, it's like what you said. It's like it's actually some guy from a completely different country who's decided to do the cuisine and called himself that.
Like every single chef in there is like full on like white.
Yeah,
which is fine,
100%,
but like, you know, it's like if I go to a Persian restaurant, I want to see a grandma in the back fucking cooking up, you know, like I want to see like, that's how it is. Like you go to a Persian restaurant, it's like, oh, salam, you know, da, 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 da. They were playing Ed Sheeran, bro. Ed Sheeran like, sang one Iranian song and they're playing his shit all day, you know, nothing wrong against Ed Sheeran.
There's one or two Israeli restaurants. There's like, there's one Turkish, and like there's like it is light on the Levant area. Let's put it that way.
I'll open it. I got this. I'll open a Persian restaurant. You're all invited on me the first time. Then you got to pay. So back to Tyler's topics. Yeah, we still have a few minutes before Joe comes in the studio. What's your top headlines here, Tyler?
Yeah, should we talk about the Sailor headline a bit more? Because I think it always gets people a little rattled now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When he makes these announcements. So the news is he's launching a new perpetual stock offering. It's Stride. STRD will be the ticker. It's a perpetual offering. Institutional investors select non-investors. It looks like they're going to price it at $100 a share. Going to issue 2.5 million against 10% preferred Class A MicroStrategy is how I understand this. I'm just curious on Mando's thoughts here. Like, is this the type of raise that we like because it's via equity? That was my general read on it versus like a levered debt.
Yeah, so it's interesting. If you go into the details, they have non-accruing dividends, which is quite an important thing. Like, now what this does, what I do think this is bad for, is the common stockholders of MicroStrategy. When you get a preferred equity offering, this may go over the top of a lot of people's heads, but it may not. But preferred means that you will get paid a dividend first. So if anyone's going to get paid a dividend, you get paid it first. Okay. And they've said you're going to get 10% dividend. Now they don't have to pay that dividend. It's a non-cumulative dividend, but it's if they are going to pay a dividend, then they have to pay these guys 10%. And it is also equity at the same time. So it says strategy will have strategy will not have any obligation to pay a regular dividend for any regular dividend period unless strategy declares such dividend period prior to the regular. So it's no dividend interest or other amount will accumulate. So basically, it layers the. If you own MicroStrategy stock, like I don't particularly love these because it means that these guys get paid a dividend and you might not, and that's absolutely fine. That's kind of actually how this has been designed. It's not a huge amount, like of what I could see, so it's not like it massively changes their leverage. And I think there's a lot of focus on MicroStrategy right now. There's a lot more companies which will fall before MicroStrategy. But this does point to, like this is the thing right now. We're going to raise debt to buy crypto here, and I think it's a little bit of a worry kind of across the market. The two major things that you heard from that Bitcoin conference was we're going to raise debt to buy Bitcoin, or sometimes it's prefs, but like sometimes it's converts, and the second thing was Bitcoin lending. Both of those things just add leverage to Bitcoin. And at an institutional level. So I think what you really is sowing the seeds of quite horrific downturn if you saw a sustained period of lower prices. Let's put it that way.
Perfect. I understood everything you just said. What are you drinking? What's the drink of choice today, Mando?
My wife just got this for me. I actually don't know. I think it's like a chai latte. Nice.
What would we do with otherwise? What would I feel like all three of us be fucking dead. Suddenly a drink appears. Suddenly a fruit bowl appears, or else I wouldn't feed myself, dude. Anyways, all right, so that's great. I see Joe in the studio. Just a reminder to everyone, we're live on audio, but this show is really more of an visual experience. Let's put it this way. So Joe will be joining us on video. I see you in the studio, Joe. During 10 seconds exactly. So we've posted Tyler, Mando, and I, and FOMO Hour on our pages, respective pages, the broadcast link. But you can also catch the show on YouTube, which I kind of think it's a better experience, and soon on other platforms. Next week, we got some changes coming to the show, which are for the better for everyone. But anyways, for now, you can catch us on Rug Radio, YouTube, or on X natively. Anyways, let's get the man himself, Joe Lubin, in the house. Joe, how are you doing today? Good morning.
How you doing? Hey, guys.
I'm
doing great.
Fantastic. Actually, Joe, I just left a meeting with one of your team members
Awesome.
on the MetaMask side this morning. He says hi.
Very cool.
Yeah, Alexander.
Where are you today? Are you
I am in Lisbon. No.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm in Lisbon. There's a NFC Lisbon conference. A lot of us are out here. Benny, I know Benny's been trying to get you to buy a punk, and I know you're into Sam Spratt.
Did Benny whisper in your ear to mention that first thing?
Benny's the whisper.
He's the
You know,
punk
but
master.
he's
Yeah,
the Punk
exactly.
Master, Sam Spratt Whisper. But we'll talk about that a little later. Joe, you know, a lot of people, as a matter of fact, were saying, hey, we got to get Joe a CryptoPunk, but we'll keep that chatter for later. We got a few options for you. We're going to show you on the show. Anyways,
Sounds
we're all tuning in, you know, from all over the world at the moment. Joe, it's a pleasure to have you. Listen, I don't think we need any introductions here when it comes to Joe Lubin in the world of crypto. I'm Ethereum co-founder, founder of Consensys, which, you know, obviously you got a lot going on there. And most recently, you became a board member
Chairman of the
Sharp.
board.
Chairman of the board of Sharplink Gaming,
Yeah.
which we're going to be talking about here. Congratulations, Joe. I mean, why don't you give
Thank
us
you.
maybe a TLDR of this new announcement, which we've been talking about every day. We were going to go in depth into it yesterday, but we said, nope, hold your horses. Joe's coming on tomorrow to talk about it. So why don't you take us through this Sharplink Gaming, you know, and the $1 billion that was raised in order to acquire Ethereum?
Yeah, so I'll keep it brief because you guys probably have questions and we can riff. But we've been doing research for about 6 months to decide whether we wanted to get into this kind of investment or this kind of opportunity. We been scanning lots of different ways of doing it. Scanning different target companies that we could either reverse merge into or lead a major investment round into. And Sharplink popped up a very small number of weeks ago, and we've been sprinting to get it done. We felt it was going to be incredibly valuable to be pretty much the first major mover. Consensys thinks of itself, has always thought of itself as the Ethereum company.
Yep.
More recently, we're an Ethereum first pan ecosystem company because we've got to provide infrastructure to the whole reasonable decentralized protocol ecosystem. Lots of great projects beyond Ethereum, but of course, all roads flow to and through Ethereum. So we identified this opportunity. We said, let's go. We talked to lots of investors, and it was just an unbelievable sprint. Our corp dev team, our legal team, our finance team did the most heroic thing: days, nights, weekends, and we got it done. And it I don't know if you noticed, but it popped. So
we definitely know this.
yeah, we were very pleased with the initial performance, and structurally, we think there's no reason why it shouldn't just keep going for maybe years, maybe decades. I mean, the way society moves, there are deep structural things that drive certain financial flows. So in the US, you've got treasuries that for 30 years grew lower and lower in their interest rates and appreciated for a very, very long time. So lots of trading strategies were based on that. Japanese carry trade, decades of borrowing yen and investing in different higher yielding trades. And we strongly believe that there's a paradigm shift underway to a more decentralized world, economy, society. And we think that's going to be pretty good for what I think is the major productive asset in our ecosystem, Ether. Should be quite good for Bitcoin. Should be pretty good for a whole bunch of other tokens. But I think the biggie will end up being Ether. And you can imagine with the structure of these kinds of companies, these kinds of treasury strategy companies, you can imagine that if you invest in it, that you're going to keep growing the amount of Ether that you hold in each of your shares. And and the price of Ether is likely to, like, this is not financial advice. I'm not licensed, let's say, financial representative. I am licensed. I'm self-licensed as an Ethereum rep, so I can talk about Ethereum. And it seems just enormously likely that that the Ethereum ecosystem will continue to grow. I think we're at our broadband moment now, and I guess one more exciting thing is that TradFi meets DeFi.
Yeah.
We're gonna be on earnings calls. We're gonna be on CNBC and Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, and Rug Radio, and and we're gonna be talking about Ethereum and DeFi. And we're going to be explaining it to TradFi professionals because they're going to be seeing people making money in this particular strategy, and there's nothing more motivating to learn about the intricacies of Ethereum and DeFi than a really compelling strategy for Wall Streeters to make money with.
Yeah. Wow.
Can I
Love that.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mando.
Can I slightly? So is the theme, because I think a lot of the Bitcoin treasury companies they're just buy and hold. They're more like, they're more commodities traders almost, or not even trading. They're like gold vehicles almost. You consider this to be a productive asset, so you're going to be doing a range of different things with it.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So Bitcoin yield, as Michael Saylor has defined it, is you buy some MSTR and you rely on them to grow the number of Bitcoin that you have access to through your shares on a fully diluted basis. So you're hoping Bitcoin goes up, and you're expecting that you're going to get more and more Bitcoin for each share that you own. So we'll certainly do that. But staking, restaking, DeFi at prudent risk levels, we will add Ether yield to this other form of yield that they've defined. So it's a productive asset in that sense. It's also productive because people use it to power applications and store data on the Ethereum network. At some points in our evolution, when there's a lot of activity on the Ethereum network, it turns into an ultrasound asset where we're burning it and deflating the monetary supply. So,
no, I think that's super interesting. That's kind of how I was hoping even Saylor would go down the route of like actually earning a yield on the Bitcoin, but it hasn't really happened with any of these companies.
Yeah, he's very clear and strict about saying something and doing it. He wants to be extremely reliable for his investors, and so when he says these things are going to be in cold storage, I'm never moving them, I'm just going to keep accumulating, I believe it. I don't think he's going to get fancy.
Yeah, how many chairs do you sit on, Joe?
How many chairs? I'm sitting on one chair right now.
I love that. I love one chair. One chair. That has always that has in his story. It's worked for you.
This is my chair.
There you go. I love it. I love it. Go ahead, Mando. Then I know Tyler's got some questions.
Oh, sorry. My second question would just be like, why do you think it's taken this for people to start to get ETH? Like, you could invest in a vehicle like this. You could invest in an ETH-based fund, right? Like, but it seems like this has been the best way to do it. Like, almost take over the strategy of an existing stock with some sort of publicly listed equity and be like, right, we're gonna now do this. Like, why has this been the thing that's really unlocked Wall Street, you think?
So first, I mentioned earlier that I feel like we're now at our broadband moment in the Ethereum ecosystem. And what I mean by that is more about the functionality of the network. So we, with the roll-up centric roadmap, which is going incredibly well, we've enabled us to grow horizontally and vertically in terms of scalability. So infinite scalability, like the internet. You can just add new layer 2 networks. We can take that new ZK EVM technology, we can enshrine it into layer 1 and beat things up that way. we're affordable, lots of block space for now. The internet's a really big place, so when we start migrating all of Web 2 to Web 3, we're going to need lots more block space, but it's quite affordable right now. Things are pretty usable. They're going to get delightfully usable when we have AIs in our wallets and in user interfaces. And in the United States of America, it was dangerous to hold tokens. Your GC wouldn't allow you to hold tokens. Your GC certainly would have laughed you out of the room if you suggested that you issue a token. If you're a normal enterprise or a traditional financial institution, if you're a brilliant application developer, it was kind of crazy to decide to build in our ecosystem in the United States of America until essentially the Chair Gensler was effectively removed from gaslighting our industry and trying to kill, slow, or co-opt our industry. But now we have all those structural things handled so that people can start building applications for end user consumers, for end user enterprises. So that's on. And more directly to your question, again, it's about identifying a strategy that captures Wall Street interests that sounds sort of cool and edgy and enormously profitable. And so that's when the financial geeks get interested. If they get interested, it starts to take on a buzz.
How do you think about the messaging to the Wall Street crowd versus perhaps more of a conservative crowd? Like, are you changing some of your emphasis points? I'm curious how you think about that as you're about to go on a road tour.
Well, I like to talk about Ethereum, and the financial stuff is very interesting as well. But it's really the capabilities of Ethereum that drives all of this. The internet a long time ago came along and it changed information, changed travel industry, it changed journalism industry. So many different industries were scaled by digital transformation. Pretty much one industry managed to avoid that. There's been very little innovation in the financial services industry. So they put some websites in front of their terrible account structures, and they innovated on some financial instruments that they used to exploit lots of people. But really, the financial industry has not seen the same kind of transformation that the internet brought to so many different industries. But that's on now. There's structural fatigue in the financial system. It's breaking. We're at the end of a super cycle effectively, and the excesses of the financial industry, the financialization of America, the hollowing out of the middle class in America is leading us all to essentially the end of this super cycle in a Strauss and Howe sense. And we, or decentralized protocols, are the answer to bringing forth a new global financial system. There is no global financial system right now. It's a whole bunch of siloed financial systems, scotch taped together via correspondent banking relationships, and now we have this thing that some people put together a decade or so ago. In terms of Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. And now it's a global, real-time, hyper-connected financial system with programmable money, programmable financial instruments where anybody can actually build something and deploy it and use it. So, total transformation.
Well, I think it's an easy pitch for those who understand the vision and the mission. I think maybe drilling into Ethereum and the Ethereum Foundation, we had some big news yesterday with the announcement of the protocol initiative, and now this new refocus on scaling the L1s, the L2s, and user experience. Curious For your reactions to that, and perhaps like the timing of you spinning up the Sharplink vessel alongside this recent pivot from the Ethereum Foundation, it seems to.
Yeah.
No.
So it's a recent pivot in the sense that people became aware of it, but things have been in process for around a year. There was a lot of malaise in our ecosystem. Bitcoin was doing great because it has a clear value proposition and a clear message. Solana was doing great because Sam destroyed the protocol, crashed the price down to what, $9 or something like that, and then it found this meta that it leaned into, and so meme coins are a very cool innovation, but there's a lot of disturbing stuff that went on around meme coins in Ethereum as well, but at a smaller scale. So they rode that up nicely. And Ethereum, the middle child, was sitting there, planning for the future. We're trying to do all the things right and build epic infrastructure for our broadband moment. And so Ether price goes down and narrative follows price. So everybody was slightly later, Ether bag starts pointing at everybody else and saying, you suck, this is your fault, etc. But really, things were going great in the Ethereum ecosystem. We took this ZK EVM technology that we've been pioneering at layer 2, and we're now bringing it into layer 1. Consensys hopes to participate in that. We're really excited about that direction. So layer 1 will get really beefy. We'll have lots of blobs. Layer 2s will be incredibly important. I actually think that they will be important for scalability, but I think they'll be more important for diversity of the different kinds of databases that sit on top of layer 1. All the layer 2s are essentially databases with functionality. And in terms of the political constructs, so we're talking to major sovereign wealth funds and banks in a particular country who are interested in how do we build infrastructure in the Ethereum ecosystem. So I'm like, and they're thinking, okay, we got to build our own Ethereum because we're worried that the Americans might control the Ethereum network. And I said, that's not a problem. That's not going to happen. But still, you probably want to build some of your infrastructure at Ethereum layer 1, and you probably want your own constructs at layer 2, so you can have a nation state layer 2, and then all the different political subdivisions. So I think that's how our ecosystem is going to evolve, with layer 2s being an organizational construct.
So there's a sovereign country looking into doing something like that.
There's a very big country. Yeah, exactly.
Mando, you hearing this? Hearing this? Mando's been bull posting, bull talking Ethereum, Joe, on this show.
Awesome.
30 minutes per day out of the hour we have.
So
music to his ears.
So forever. I think there's been some very concrete changes. I think some of the stuff that you've been saying.
And let me answer your question. So I think organically, everybody's feeling a lot better about stuff. The changes that were announced in the EF have been wonderful. The access, the proactivity. So I've had discussions with leadership, and I'm so excited with what the EF is doing. Frankly, I was pretty comfortable that the EF has been doing great things all along. I do think that a more proactive posture by the EF is valuable. I think it's the right time for that, but I think the EF has done a great job for a very long time. And all along we've been building, and we just keep going, and the world is catching up to us.
Yeah, I think the main thing that's got me more bullish is this. I think Solana's had a great cycle in terms of activity. You can't really deny that. It's really did lead in terms of that for a long period of the cycle. What got me, what I think has got me more bullish has been firstly just like the changes around how we're going to view the layer one for fees. I quite liked the ultrasound narrative. I thought was a very strong one for ETH, and it's kind of drifted away. It feels like it might come back. And if I look at the top blockchains out there, activity is only one real measure of success. Like Bitcoin doesn't have as much activity as most of the others. It's really just a store of value. XRP seemingly has a crazy high valuation, doesn't really have much going on there.
Best marketing project in the history of the world.
I actually think the value of a cryptocurrency is often down to that store of value, or like it being seen as just like a productive asset, like you just said. And I think that ETH, even if it doesn't capture all the activity and that moves to the L1s, if it can recapture that, this is a really good store of value, which can still be productive. I think that is where it can become very strong. And I think the changes to the ETH have really just been the icing on the cake, where I felt like, okay, this is now shifted and it's been beaten down for a long time. And now it's got the narrative back. Like you can feel it. ETH has got the narrative back. And I think now it can hopefully use that because it has all the TradFi rails. Like what you just did, you're going to be the first of many, right? You must know there must be about 10 other companies now. The reason why you want to do it so quick is because everyone's seen what just happened to Sharplink stock and gone like, right, we're going to do the same thing. And ETH is probably the best asset to do it with, given the rails that it has. So it feels as though there could be now this institution wave.
And exactly. And while everybody was taking shots at Ethereum, it was still by far the biggest ecosystem out there. It still had the bulk of the real world assets, the bulk of the stable coins. It has not all of DeFi, but a giant proportion of DeFi. I would say that the Bitcoin maxis are really good at talking shit, and the Solana maxis are professionalizing that as well, and the Ethereum people are really good at keeping heads down and building, because there's a lot that we need to do. There isn't a lot that the Bitcoin people need to do. Their protocol. I love Bitcoin. I was a Bitcoiner in early 2011. I'm still a Bitcoiner. The Bitcoin protocol is finished and perfect. So what do they have to do?
Well, instead they did runes and ordinals, but that's another conversation. Tyler,
ordinals are cool.
Tyler, go ahead.
Joe, we run this as a market show as well. I'm curious for your thoughts on the market as someone who's, I'm thinking out years, decades, I'm sure, but I'm kind of curious for your thoughts on the broader crypto market outlook on like a 1 year horizon, as well as a 4 to 5 year horizon here. You mentioned the deep structural changes earlier on in our convo. If you'd care to maybe elaborate on some of that.
Yeah, so it's probably dangerous to listen to an eternal optimist like me, but I think we're moving into a period where, as we discussed already, the mainstream culture, Wall Street, all the Wall Streets around the world are going to have to take notice. The existing economy is being reformatted. I do believe that the United States had to make some changes because a long time ago, the United States ended up being the sole superpower. And it was a kinder period where the US helped lots of countries rebuild themselves. The US was very comfortable allowing tariffs in lots of different countries, essentially paying for the rebuilding. US, for strategic reasons, made itself world police, established NATO, paid for the bulk of NATO, policed the seas to keep trade inexpensive via naval transportation. And some countries took advantage of that. One country in particular took extreme advantage of that and has been at war with China's been at war with the United States pretty much declared for a long time, doing some disturbing things. And we need a good, healthy relationship with China and every other nation, and it should be balanced. So the U.S. We are moving into a multipolar world, and we need healthy trade relationships. And if the U.S. is going to continue to protect certain things, it should probably get paid some of the costs. And so with that in the background, we're going to see massive change. We are seeing massive change, and in a multipolar world, you probably want a credibly neutral platform on which to execute transactions, guaranteed transactions, to maintain relationships. If you enter into a treaty, currently, it's really easy to just break those things. They're not really worth much. If you enter into a treaty on the Ethereum blockchain and you put many billions of dollars at stake, and maybe there's utility in the United Nations. Maybe the United Nations can help adjudicate when there are conflicts with respect to a smart contract. So if there's a strategic arms limitation smart contract that both parties put a whole lot of money into it, and one party breaks that agreement, then they should be slashed massively. So we now have financial means to do interesting and healthier geopolitical things. So anyway, total transformation, that's probably going to be really good for the economy. I believe we're at the end of a super cycle. I believe we're at the start of a new super cycle with a new promise, a new system of the world, new social contracts, and that's going to be really good for anybody who's sort of coming into the world now, or maybe 10 years from now, because it'll probably be rocky for a little while.
Do you think this new? Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask maybe a slightly controversial question, but like there was a lot of talk maybe last cycle, which was that ETH could kind of maybe even overtake Bitcoin with this productive asset capability. Do you still have that belief? Do you still think ETH has got a better proposition potentially to the world here in terms of value creation?
Yeah. So I think of Bitcoin as gold 2.0. I think it will probably have that use case probably for a long time. It seems to be a strong enough religion at this point so that it'll stick. Ether is somewhere between the world computer, electricity, energy, oil, or what I really like is Ether being seen as the most valuable trust commodity on the planet. So information's a commodity. There are different kinds of promises that can be treated as a commodity, assurances, agreements. We don't really think of trust currently as a commodity, but if you think about the levels of trust that you need to add to certain situations to make them more valuable, you could probably come up with a grading system for different kinds of trust. Satoshi Nakamoto invented this most profound thing, decentralized trust, the highest grade trust in the world, especially if it's on a radically decentralized network, and there's no better trust network than Ethereum. It can guarantee execution of transactions, and I think of Ether now as the gold standard in trust, or highest octane trust, etc. So will that be more valuable than Bitcoin? Seems very likely.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe in a
take.
AI that could be very valuable.
I love that. That's a great question, Mando. Joe, if you have 5 more minutes, I think Tyler is just another question on the MetaMask front and some of the cool stuff you guys have been up to. Would be great to get some of your takes on MetaMask and stuff going on with Linea. But go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah, I found it notable. The Ethereum Foundation refocusing on user experience. And I think MetaMask has been doing the same. Yesterday, we had the big announcement, the acquisition of Web3 Auth. I'm just kind of curious to hear from you about why that was strategic, kind of what the focus is right now with MetaMask.
Yeah, so they're awesome. They built some great technology. So it's instant onboarding. It's ways of recovering your account if you lose your secret recovery phrase. They have thousands of different projects using their embedded wallet system. So we see it as top of funnel. They millions of users in those thousands of projects. We see it as top of funnel with all these different projects that can instantly put together a quickly skinned wallet, and then we'll just set up a mycelial network underground that enables if you've got a few of these wallets, you can connect them into your MetaMask, or if you just want a longer term, durable, more secure relationship, then easy onboarding from one of these embedded wallets to your MetaMask. So there's that's the end user perspective. We're building an increasingly capable developer stack, so they'll be a big part of that as well.
I'm curious as well how you're contemplating like the AI agent revolution. Are you contemplating how MetaMask will integrate with perhaps agents? Sure. And then part two, is Ethereum going to be the home of AI? There's a lot of debate.
Yeah, so we're exploring AI from so many different perspectives. In particular, we do believe that you should be typing to or talking to your MetaMask. The internet is already too hard for us to use. It's exploitative, and nobody has the time to read terms and conditions. So we just click through stuff, and we get regularly abused by big tech, and just the business model of the internet is adversarial, pretty much. So how are we all going to deal with this even more complicated version of the internet? Smart contracts. Who's going to read smart contracts? Who's going to read proposals and DAOs so they can vote on that? It's kind of unreasonable. But if you have a digital twin AI ally, an agent that coordinates your activities, it'll know what you care about. You can delegate tasks, you can delegate voting permissions, you can give it allowances, and it can essentially do your bidding on the internet. If you want it to explain a DeFi protocol, if you want it to explain what the latest proposal in this DAO means and what it thinks you should vote, then it'll do that. So we finally have a powerful interface that we trust, and we're going to need to own these things. We really don't want big tech to own our interfaces that know everything about us to Web3. So if we own these things, we can train them. They'll be so first we will sort of be their parents in a sense, training them. Then they will be our mentors and life partners, and so a very, very long running intimate relationship. And it, in terms of where they sit, so they're going to get smaller and smaller. I believe there will be large language models, foundational models in lots of different societies that understand subtleties in language and culture. So I think that's going to be important to different nation states. But then there will be just giant swarms of mixture of experts, agents that do lots of things. I think we'll have a controller that manages all of that, and you probably want it on your own hardware somehow. There will probably be blockchain systems that are fast enough and big enough, decentralized storage systems that can house some of those things. It's a big technological step, but we definitely have to get away from centralization in the AI space. If big tech is able to win this, then we're all in a lot of trouble.
Makes a lot of sense. Appreciate all your thoughts.
You're muted.
Sorry, here you go. Sorry. I know you got a busy schedule, Joe. Listen, popular request question here. I have to ask for the people. You know, when are we going to see a Joe Lubin Cryptopunk? You know,
Who's
that's kind of
paying you? Who's paying you to bug me about punks?
Not enough.
I
Hello.
know who's paying you. It's
Note
okay.
Foundation. Hello, Note Foundation. You know, I'm a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
advocate.
So they are awesome. I'm a big fan of the Node Foundation, and I have regular conversations with those people. So who knows?
I'm seeing Benny tonight, and I know he's
Excellent.
gonna ask me if
Very
I
cool.
ask you, and he told me to ask you
Give
about
him
the
a big
mask
hug
you
for
bought.
me.
I will. I know you bought a mask as well, with from Spread, that you're involved in the NFT ecosystem. So you know it's good to see some love on the NFT side. Okay, I know it's the 2021 thing,
Yeah.
but we still need
Yeah.
a little bit of
My
love.
issue is that I want, if I'm going to do a PFP, I want something unique, something that I'm going to feel good about for a long time. So.
All right, you heard it here, everyone. Start shilling your one of ones to Joe Lubin. Not too hard, not too hard. Joe, last
Exactly.
question is: what's one thing you're most excited about?
I guess that it's on. I think we're finally crossing the chasm into the mainstream financial system, mainstream economy, mainstream culture. I am at a party in Las Vegas, a Bitcoin conference, and Scottie Pippen shows up.
Scotty.
We chat. He's taking pictures with lots of crypto people. So we may have arrived.
There you go. We may have arrived. Joe Lubin, thank you very much for coming on the show
Thanks,
today.
guys.
It's a
This was
pleasure.
fun.
Appreciate you.
Cool. Take it easy.
All right. Well, that was a lot of fun, guys. Great interview. We got some. Oops. What did I do? See, Mando had to go. We got some good alpha out of this one, Tyler. I think that was a successful interview. So, with that,
I'm bowled up. I can say that.
I'm rethinking my 30% portfolio allocation now. It's yeah. Market's pumping while Joe's talking. You love that.
Oh
don't
yeah,
you?
ETH just ripping on the back of all of his words.
We need to clip that part where he said a sovereign state is looking to build on chain on Ethereum, and we could get the first sovereign state L2. There's no way this has been said before. Like, I think we gotta Omar. We gotta get clipping ASAP. We gotta repost this entire interview. That was some great. Tomorrow we'll probably have some time to recap and go over this interview, which was really, really awesome. I'm glad. And the market's doing well right now. So you absolutely love to see that. All right, well, Tyler, that was a good one. Good work. Love that, Mando also got involved here. It was a great interview. With that, we'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Same time, same place, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for another episode of FOMO Hour on our radio. Let's go.